Hello, everyone, and today I'm very excited to have a conversation. Today we have one of our members. He's called Raj, even though, of course, you will introduce yourself better. But he's from India originally, currently living in the UK. He went to study his business master's degree in there. And I'm very excited to have this conversation because not only you just got funded with 200K, but aside of the 200K funding, I think you've been also an example of what's hard work ethic inside of the mentorship, and also at the same time your analysis and case study. This is something that we're of course very supportive, not just trying to get funded, but the ability to know that that can be or turn into a consistent profitable trader was there, and this is also the reason why we're having the conversation. So Raj, very happy to see you.
Yeah, happy to see you as well, Alex. It's been amazing. The journey has been really amazing. But just if I start with my introduction, I'm Raj and I'm basically from India, like Alex mentioned. I came here to do my business masters, traditional path, as we all say, engineering and then masters and get a job. Got a job, but always wanted something more like more freedom, more money, and stuff like that. Who doesn't want more money?
Yeah.
Came across to trading in December 2024, actually, through one of the social media gurus. I didn't even know Wakar and Alex by that time. So, yeah, I started to see what is trading and get courses and stuff like that. Finally stumbled upon WWA in May 2025, like four and a half, 5 months ago. And then, yeah, I'm blessed by God, 200K funded by now. Yeah.
Amazing. What was
Yeah.
what would you say were your trading before joining us? What was your strategy? How were you actually trading? What was the base or the foundation of it?
So basically, it was more so free YouTube video. So following social media gurus was selling strategies,
Yep.
making themselves see profitable. So I actually started from someone, I paid someone £500 to teach me support and resistance trading, which we know now that it doesn't work. But in that time, I didn't know it doesn't work. So there was no fundamentals, to be honest. Looking at the systems that we have right now, the models that we trade, specific confluences that we stack them up and take the trade. There was nothing like that. There was no system, no proper risk management, journaling, and stuff like that. So in past, my trading has been really like bad. I can say that that's why I hit a block where I was like, things are not moving forward right now. I need to change something. I need to learn real things, why market moves and stuff like that. So that's how it's been in the past.
Amazing. And you're mentioning that it was more support resistant based, right? What time frame do you think it was more or less around? Like it was a H4 support resistance, like an M15, or you were just trying testing things around?
Yeah. It was more so just doing multiple time frame analysis from what we learned from YouTube,
Yeah.
and whatever the social media gurus I used to follow, which themselves were not profitable, by the way. It's very important to mention. It was more so H4, H1, M15, and then we would enter between M10 and M5, but the stop loss sizes and will be so big. There was no profitable winning system.
Okay, yeah. So my question here will be also, right, based on your journey, we have people from different backgrounds. We have people that have taken 10, 12 mentorships and they join us being profitable. We have people that have taken 10, 12 mentorships, they join us and they're actually not profitable and they want to see what we call the light out of the tunnel. But in your case, you never invested before into any sort of mentorship, as you're saying, right? You were just looking around YouTube. So being the first time joining a place, did this came with any sort of doubts, or did you have any doubts around joining us, or what was the feeling of investing, let's say, for the same time for the first time into a
Yeah, yeah, there were so many doubts, to be honest with you, Alex. I've already wasted about £3,000 in just paying random people, random money and stuff like that.
yeah,
£3,000 is a lot of money. That's a lot of savings from my salary,
yeah,
and didn't get anywhere. So when I was on call to like actually do the payment for this mentorship, I was very reluctant. The guy I was speaking to, Ted, he had to spend about 3 hours with me just so that we understand what I want,
yeah,
and he then made me realize that it's something that is yeah that is really important for me to invest in mentorship, like you said, as I have no mentorship. And I ended up taking a decision at like 3 4 a.m. in the morning because he was in Japan. I paid the installment. At that time as well, I was very reluctant that is this the right place because I'm paying a lot of money and stuff.
yeah.
But funnily enough, 3, 4 days later, after finishing all the master, so I'm finished master classes in first 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
I initially got membership for 6 months, and
Yeah.
I called it and I said, can I extend it to 12 months because 6 months is not going to cut anything. So that's how I ended up extending it.
Amazing, amazing. So you ended up finding value and therefore wanting to, let's say, even stay longer with us. As you know, we have a lot of content inside, so
Yeah,
it requires some time. But regarding into your trading, right? You come from a support resistance background, and then you jump into our concepts, which I would say they're a bit advanced, even though
yeah.
we try to simplify them, as you know, as much as possible, trying to see or to have very objective models to follow. How was that? Because it took you 4 months to be funded, which is very surprising, also based on the background you had and how was the journey. So how was the journey for you by joining us, learning all these new things and applying them at the same time?
Yeah, it was, if I describe it in words, it was challenging, tough, and draining, very, very draining, like 9 to 5 job, and then you have other commitments to your family and stuff.
Yeah,
But in terms of how the journey has been to be someone who trades support resistance and then trade actual models, actual market structure, how we have everything arranged and designed, it was amazing. I would have not changed anything about the journey, starting from support resistance to realizing that those are the traders who get, I won't use the word, but get lost in the market, let's say.
yeah,
Yeah. Um, I realized that I was always getting lost, and it was just because I did not know a few things in the market. And that's how I realized that the content that we have is actually very accurate the way we trade. So the first month was like, wow, that's magic. Because I used to mark my levels in charts, not unlike support resistance, and it would
mhm,
work like clockwork. It would respect and go high, respect and go low like that. So it was surprising to see we can be this much accurate in market in all reality. 2 months in 2 months, I got all my profits to be funded within last 6 weeks. So first 2.5 months I was break even trader, just to execute and learn that execution style, what suits me, what doesn't, and just to test things. What am I conservative trader? Because it has to personally suit me, the style of trading that I personally have.
yeah,
First 2.5 months was break even. I remember every call me and Wojtek will go over my break even and just refine why am I getting break even, because I'd get direction right, I would get model right. It's just early break even because maybe psychology, FOMO, fear of being induced to take the stop loss. But after 2.5 months, when I took my first TP on 123 on such a big amount, it felt like, okay, now finally everything's clicking up. And then after that, it took me 6 weeks to do 12.5, 13% to pass my account.
amazing,
Yeah,
amazing. You're mentioning the real process that it goes into trading, which is not only learning something, is then applying it, which is the testing phase that you were mentioning. And when you're testing and you're applying things, right, that is where like it's very difficult to be a profitable trader directly. I know
yeah,
for you it still took you a very short time, but for
yeah,
some people take a bit longer, right? It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah,
But that testing period is super important to see. You might be a very good trader for continuations and for reversals, but we get people that are just very good at continuations and they're for some reason not able to spot the reversals correctly, or they take too many losses, right? So being
yeah,
able to find what works for you is super important. But then once you see what works for you,
yeah.
what differentiates the average trader to the top trader is the trade management,
Yes.
not the risk management, because everyone should
Mm,
do risk management in
mm,
terms of like how much they risk, because if not, they're gonna turn into a gambler, which
yeah,
that's something that you know. And as I'm
yeah.
smiling, we definitely put a lot of emphasis inside for make you guys be a
Mm,
professional trader, not become a gambler trying to make money 1 month but then losing everything the next month, but actually be able to be a consistent trader. And with that trade management, it also comes up with the idea of how you can maximize your account. And that process that you're saying of like you were there but you could see that you were stopped out break even and then price will go without you, and all that process is just about data. It's about spotting things. I know also you had a great coach, in this
yeah,
case Wojtek was also guiding you through the process. And well, very very soon you're basically funded with 200K, which I'm also very proud of. But as we always say, the most important thing is not just the funding, it's also the ability
yeah,
to know that you can do this consistently, and you've been proving it now for months, and I
yeah.
think it will be a bright future. So what are your goals now, Raj, regarding like I know you're 200K funded, but what are your, let's say, short-term and long-term goals with trading?
So basically, right now, looking at my past 2 months' performance, I've been averaging out to about 5.56%. just
How much,
last two
sorry?
months. 5.5 to 6%.
Amazing.
Um, uh, August has been good enough. I'm at 2% right now at August. I'm aiming that we have half month left to we finish 5-6%. I just want to consistently make 5-6% on the current funding and scale my funding and get other challenges. But in terms of short-term goals, if I have the 5% return on an average after all the payouts within the next 6-7 months, I can quit my job within just
Amazing.
6-7 months. And the money that I save with that, it can give me 1 year runway basically, just to save my runway and then just full time focus on trading. And within next 6 months after that, maybe next time by this year, the goal is to be 1 million funded. I'll be very honest with you, maybe very optimistic, but that's the goal right now.
That's a
I
good
never
thing.
imagined, to be honest with you. So I'm going India within next 1.5 months. I never imagined I'll be able to be funded within 6-7 months of joining WWE. So that's quite, it came as a surprise to me as well, that sticking to process like you always talk about. And then the calls that you have in VIP, like the call that you have on Wednesday, though I think those calls and the group coaching calls that we have with Naeem on Saturday and Usman right now, they were the deal breakers along with the private mentorship that I had with Voitech. So yeah, just sorry for digressing, was just important for me to mention. But that's the
Sure.
goals for next 12 months.
Amazing. And that was a follow-up question. First of all, it's great to see that you have also short-term and long-term goals. I think they're important. And also, we're very happy that you found, as you said, like earlier success than expected, which it comes from different ventures. Some people will find it a bit later, but definitely with hard work and consistency that you're putting, I think you're gonna have a bright future because it becomes also, as I said before, of your foundation analysis.
Yeah.
But I was gonna also ask about
Mm.
insight, right? You've never joined a mentorship, let's say, before like
Mm.
this one. So again, there's people that have joined and then they see the difference. But on yourself, what
Mm.
were the things that or have spotted most attention that were the most fruitful for you when it comes into using inside of our ecosystem? You know, we have
Yeah.
pre-market sessions. We have the calls on Wednesday, calls on Sundays with Wakar too, calls now with the coaches. Like there's basically like a big schedule of things.
Yeah.
So far, what do you feel, even though I know you mentioned already, but what do you feel was the best deal breakers, the best moments inside of WWA?
I think if I was to just quickly mention was
Yeah.
the ability to access people like our coaches, you, Waka, and the ability to have that accessibility of content and the ecosystem, the feedback ecosystem, that if we are going wrong somewhere, everyone in the community is ready to help in terms of the peers that we have. But not
Yeah.
only that, but on chat, like coaches are always answering your questions. If we are able to ask you questions on VIP, if we are able to ask you questions, ask Wakar questions on Sundays VIP call that we have. But additionally, I think the pin breaking point was the Sunday session we also have. And also initially in the journey, first 2 months was framing. Framing was the most difficult part. I was like, okay, I know market structure, I know the levels that we have, right? But what do you do? So I think the pre-market call that we have every day, twice a day before London and New York, those call initially help you to build the foundation of how do you want to be personally and what do you want to be trading, to
Yeah.
define what kind of trader you are. And then that was a step one for me. And then step two was now exploring how I can refine my edge. So WWE has given me an edge. I have to make it my edge to then make it work for me, because
Yeah.
as you mentioned, everyone's style is different. For me, I like continuations more. And 80 percentage of my ROI and win has been through continuations,
Amazing.
So I think the whole ecosystem in general, but the feedback mechanism, the accessibility of content to coaches to you and Wakar is the main thing in the community. I think that's the most important part. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much for that feedback. And is there anything else you want to mention to anyone that, let's say, is doubting or have their thoughts on us? What would you say?
I would say if you were to make any investment decisions in your life, just make this one. It was phenomenal. I don't see myself doing the things that I see myself doing right now if I ended up anywhere else. It could be anyone anywhere else, but I don't see myself doing that. On our call when I was paying my deposit for the WW mentorship,
Yeah,
the Ted who was on my call, he mentioned really one good thing. He said so I came in here in UK with 30K debt, student finance and stuff like that, mortgage and loan. I paid half of it. So I came here with a 30K debt and I'm right now at minus 15K, for example. If
yeah,
I invest in something to take a risk, because it's my early 20s. I would still be better in a position in terms of position before I was 3 years. I
Hmm.
cannot be afraid of losing something. You have to take risk. So I
Hmm.
think close your eyes, put the money in, you'll never regret it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what's been the best moment for you personally inside of the company and the community?
Best moment, I think, meeting people, the wonderful people that I meet through community. And that involves meeting you, meeting Wakar, meeting the amazing coaches that we have on personal level, understanding the personal level as well. But the trading mates that we make, the mini community within communities that we make is the most important part. I think if you don't have that level of belongingness anywhere in any community where everyone is ready to jump in to help you, jump on a call to, discuss charts, I think
Yeah.
that the value where people's value and culture is the most amazing thing, I think.
Amazing, Raj. Thank you very much for everything. It's been an amazing call. Probably a lot of people are very happy also to put you even more face into your story, even though I know, of course, know you. Everyone knows you inside of the community. You had a lot of chats with everyone, but
Yeah.
I think it's always excited for the community to see success stories like yourself. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you inside.